OrcaTorch asked me to do a review of the new dive video light D710V, which is an alternative to the very popular D710 as a normal dive light, handheld small dive light. But now they produced a video version of that, having a different reflector and making it available for video by having a very wide flood angle. Normally I would go diving with my camera with two of the D910V, the bigger video lights, but specifically for this dive, this test dive, I went with the D710V together with the D530V fitted with a snoot. I'll show you a photo of the rig as I used it, and I used that for photography during a test dive. The D710V comes in a very neat small package. I'll quickly open it. So it's in this small pretty box, and actually there's a lot of things in the box apart from the dive light itself. There's also the battery, which is now in the light, but there's also the attachment for the camera, a lanyard, the cord for charging it, etc. So normally if you would go for underwater video, certainly if you have a wide angle lens on your camera, you will need a lot of light. And there the D910V is a necessity, or even a bigger light like that, to have substantial amount of light from your rig. But I decided to go for micro shots and use the D710V together, as I mentioned, with the D530V with the snoot. A very big advantage from my point of view is that it's very lightweight. When you compare the D710V with the D910V, there's a substantial change in weight. Obviously, it comes with the downside that the D910V provides far more light than the D710V, but it was very interesting to see if it would provide sufficient light for video or photography. Waters in the Netherlands most of the times are quite murky, so if visibility is 2-3 meters, that's pretty good for us. Normally you would say it's pretty bad, but for us it's pretty good. So wide angle shots normally are not an option in the Netherlands, and certainly at the time when I did this test video, visibility was very poor. So I decided to go for macro in estuary waters in the Netherlands and use the 710V over there. It comes with red light, it comes with UV light, but basically I only use the normal white light to light the nudibranches, and use the snoot of the D530V as an alternative, so to see what the changes would be. Now there's one downside. I tried to fit the snoot to the D710V, but unfortunately that just did not fit. So there's a small point for enhancement, I would say, to make the top of the D530V and the top of the D710V exactly the same thread, so then you can use the snoot on the D710V as well, because that provides more light than the D530V. Now I'll show you some of the pictures which I made during the dive. In general, I was very happy with the setup because it's very lightweight when you compare it to the D910V. Certainly when you have two of these lights on your rig, that's quite heavy and it changes the balance of the rig. You need additional floaters, but having the D710V and the D530V on it, it was neutral underwater. It was very easy to handle. It's a small rig, and for macro photography or videography, it was working perfectly. There's sufficient light for macro, so I was very happy, and basically I was impressed by the quality of the light itself. So if you think about macro videography, macro photography, if you want not too much weight in your camera, I would certainly suggest to try out the D710V as a video light for your work underwater. So, great new addition to the OrcaTorch torches family.